All right, now that it's 6 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the September 10th, 2024 Town of Van Buren Zoning and Planning Board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. McMahon? Here. Mr. Virginia?
Here.
Mr. Sykes?
Here.
Mr. Roman?
Here.
Mr. Bose?
Here.
Mr. Strazenbach?
Here.
Mr. Rizzo?
Here. All right. Meeting minutes were sent out to everyone. Is there any comments on the meeting minutes? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to approve the August zoning and planning board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approved. Chair entertain a motion to enter into a public hearing for Peter Cost 6705 Canton Street, Warner's Tax Map ID number 053-01-01.0 for an area variance side yard setback.
Moved. Second.
Hearing first and second, all those, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? We are now in public hearing. Did we open this last meeting? We never had a public hearing last meeting. Okay, sorry. Mr. Koss, can
Yes.
you give your name and address?
Peter Koss, 6705 Canton Street, Warners.
I'm going to have you, do you have a copy of what you submitted?
I do. Two new documents from the last meeting. This is just for illustrative purposes. This is a Google Maps of the area, and this is a new survey that was done, completed on Friday last week.
Well, I'm impressed that you had a surveyor to do that so quick.
I'm going to advertise for him. Lair is phenomenal. I called him the day after this meeting. Oh, we're 3 to 5 to 6 weeks out. And I explained to them my dilemma. Oh, we'll do what we can do. They showed up on Wednesday, this last week. And I asked the surveyors, is it possible to have the paperwork done by Friday? Oh, God, no, that takes a week or two. I called them. They said, we'll see what we could do. I had it at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon.
Can't beat it.
They were phenomenal.
All right, so I need you to explain what you're looking for.
Okay.
Why we're here.
Why we're here, my property line, this is probably easier to see, but this is more technically correct. My property line is 15.4 inches. My original survey done in 1980 showed it at 15.3 inches. From the foundation of what this is my garage. And as you can see, my pool extends beyond that. And what I did is I used a laser and a string line for what I believe to be the property line at 15.3 inches. Ran it from the road all the way to the back of my property line, and then measured. The pool is not there. I took it down.
Understood.
And it's 11 feet to where the pool was. So what I'm asking for is a variance for that 4 feet.
Okay. So, stay there. Hearing what we heard, I'm looking to the audience. Does anybody have anything to speak for or against this application? Ask again, does anybody want to speak for or against this application? Hearing nothing, Chair entertain a motion to exit public hearing and go into general session.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? We are now in general session. This is for Peter Cost, 6705 Can Street, Warner's tax map ID number 053.-01-01.0. This is for an area variance side yard setback. Can you please give your name and address again? For the
Peter
record?
Cost, 6705 Canton Street, Warners.
Okay, so appreciate you getting the survey in. The only issue I see right now is what's the diameter of that pool?
24 feet.
Because what we'd like to do is we're gonna need that pool on the survey.
Do I need to get another survey?
No. I mean, if we could draw it on the survey at a 24-foot diameter to scale.
Or what you could do, couple comments here. You could just make it a condition of approval that it be updated once it's done.
That's where I was going. Thank you.
Then we're thinking.
I agree with you, yes. No. Yeah, I was not gonna have you come back, but we need to, so when we file this, we're gonna make it a condition of approval to, you need to submit it with the pool shown on there.
Okay.
To the scale of the drawing and then showing the needed setback that it is. If it's the 11 feet,
The guys that did the survey said, we can't legally show the pool because it's not there.
understood, exactly. It
They
has
said,
to be-
but
yes.
you are 11 feet from what we drew. That's my word.
So I just need a 20-foot diameter pool shown on this when you submit it to file.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's got to draw that?
You could probably ask them to quickly draw it, just put it into the system and draw a 24-foot
Okay.
diameter. I mean, so what we need to show is we need to show what that setback is.
I understand.
To the point of where you're
I
gonna set it.
Right.
That's the key we need to do.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know for sure, I think the survey will do that if he can label it future pool.
Right, proposed.
Right, so it still can be a legal document. Because
They're phenomenal. I just,
It's gonna take them 2 seconds to drop a dot, put a circle in there for
Right.
you. So
Okay.
They'll just call it, like Jim said, they'll call it future pool. I mean, you haven't even built the pool yet. Or is it in now?
oh God.
No, it's
no,
not.
I
Exactly.
can't
do
until I
it.
get a permit.
You gotta-
And I can't get a permit until I get a variance.
Exactly.
So just a couple comments for the board. I've circulated a resolution that I prepared today. When this first came in, it was 12 feet, so that'll need to be revised to reflect 11 as you read through. And then also, at the time of preparing this, I didn't have the benefit of the updated survey. So, Mr. Cost, that new survey is dated September what?
This is dated
Sixth.
September 5th, actually.
No,
Or no, it's 6th. I don't have my glasses.
Okay,
6th.
so,
Yeah.
where I reference later on the survey, I would just say at the end of it, I would just say last revised 9/6/24. And then the last comment I have is that this is a type 2 action for seeker purposes. So a separate seeker determination is not required, and in fact, this is addressed in the first numbered paragraph under the results. So you're good to go. Should you choose?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, was not here last meeting. Did anybody address the shed in the back? Setback? Right on the property.
We did not, because we did not know the shed in the back. We didn't have survey.
Okay, accessory structure requires a setback. I don't know exactly in that district, but I think 5 feet. So we may have to address that here also.
Is your shed on skids or is it,
It's sitting on pads.
so it could be moved?
It could be. The terrain doesn't really lend itself to it, but yeah, it could be. At the time when the shed was built, you can't even, that's up in this section here, it was surrounded by 2 apple trees, a pear tree, and a cherry tree that were all the way around it. And it was really the only place it could go. I talked to my neighbor about it, and he says, well, put it there. I don't care. But anyways, that's,
How long has the shed been in that location?
1982?
So a fair number of years. And
Yeah.
So how far is that shed off the property line?
It's right on the back property line, and from this line, it's back about, it's maybe 8 feet.
So here's the only dilemma that I was just speaking to our code officer with. Under New York State Fire Code, unless the shed is built of special fire-resistant material, it can't, this board does not have the legal authority to reduce the setback from 5 feet. Fire Code says it has to be, unless it has that fire rating. That's it, right?
That is correct. The 5-foot buffer, it factors in case most people store gasoline, flammable storage in the back, like gasoline,
Yeah.
mowers, weed whackers.
It's got a lawnmower in
And
it, but
if it catches on fire, it gives fire department time. You've got 5 feet from your next door neighbor, so 5 and 5 is 10. It builds in a buffer, a fire
Okay.
life safety.
I don't know if we can show it here, but his house is here. It's got to be 30, 40 feet from my neighbor's house.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
The problem is, what I'm saying is that the state supersedes our rule, supersedes the authority of this board to grant.
I understand that.
Okay.
If the shed is moved, it's more than 5 feet from this line. If it's moved, which would be to the east 5 feet, it would be in compliance. I'll move it 5 feet.
I don't know what the setback is. I think it's 5 feet. We should look it up.
It's a 6 by 8 shed. It'll move easily.
Your 5 feet should be fine.
I'll move it 5 feet.
So I would say then, as a condition of this approval, which I'll get into, is that that shed be moved and showed on the survey also as a future location of the shed.
Okay,
Just like the pool.
no problem. I can do that.
No. You're gonna have to revise the resolution then, because this map's gonna show a revision.
Correct. Correct. Well, that would be part of the condition, so we'll still
I don't know how we filed.
state the resolution as be amended, and then as a condition that the survey will be amended to meet the shed and the...
No, I understand, but I think we're referencing the map and the resolution.
We do, but we don't know exactly when that's gonna be anyway, so we're still gonna pass the resolution with what we have in front of us,
Okay.
knowing that a condition of the approval will be amended.
Well, if they're gonna write on their future pool, why can't they
That's right.
do future shed or
100%. Yep, exactly.
relocated shed or whatever?
Yep, and that'll be the condition of both the pool and the shed will need to be shown. Any other comments by the board? All right.
So in speaking with our code officer, if the board is comfortable with the shed 5 feet off, which is allowed by fire code, then yes, capture that in this resolution as well, because otherwise it too would need to be 15 feet.
Would need to be what?
15 feet of side yard setback as well.
It's rear yard though.
Oh, well, then that won't apply. Rear yard is,
Oh, but we're not
15.
15 feet off the side yard either.
it's 15 both ways.
It's 15 both ways.
For rear yard, in R40, detached accessory, side yard is 15, rear yard is 15.
So we would be granting relief from that as well
Correct.
to allow 5 and 5.
Right, but I would specify that the pool structure is 11 feet.
Yep.
And that the shed structure is permitted 5 feet off the, you're saying the rear and the,
Rear and the side.
Rear and the side.
It is roughly 5 feet from this line here, and it's definitely right on the line as it shows in the survey here. So it would have to move, which wouldn't be too bad because the trees are gone now. I'd move it to the east 5 feet.
So that's 2 variances, right?
For the shed.
For the shed, correct. It'll be 3 variances altogether.
Right.
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 Third?
Well, you got side, the back.
Oh,
And then the-
right, that counts as 2, I see.
Because the split should be 15 and 15.
Gotcha.
So you would have 2 separate. Does the board have any issues or comments on, in regards to the shed being 5 feet off of the side yard setback and the backyard to meet fire code restriction, or fire code by New York State? Being that the shed's been in since 1982.
Do you want me to read this and make those changes, or are you comfortable doing it? Okay. All right.
Now that we're on camera.
Forgot about the camera. So here's the resolution, and we're gonna wing it to an extent. Peter Koss, applicant of 6705 Canton Street, has applied for area variance relief from section 200-45 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code relating to side yard setback relief required for the installation of an above-ground pool and side yard and rear yard setback relief for an existing storage shed on property located in the R40 zoning district and identified as tax map number 053.01-01.0 property. Section 200-45 of the zoning code requires the side yard setback and rear yard setbacks for residential detached accessory structures in the R40 zoning district to be 15 feet. The applicant appeared before the Zoning Board of Appeals seeking side yard and rear yard relief to replace an existing above-ground pool in such a manner as to result in a side yard setback of 11 feet to the north, representing 4 feet of relief, and relocating a storage shed in such a manner as to result in a side yard and rear yard setback of 5 feet. A public hearing on the application was held on September 10, 2024. During its deliberations, the board acknowledged that the applicant is seeking to install an above-ground pool in the same location as the prior above-ground pool, and that the storage shed has existed for approximately 40 years on the property. In support of the application, the applicant submitted an application for variance, agricultural data statement, notification of surrounding property owners, a short environmental assessment form, and a survey prepared by Douglas Lurk, licensed land surveyor, dated September 29, 1980, last revised September 6, 2024. Based upon the foregoing, the board resolves as follows. Number 1, the matter is a type 2 under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, as it involves the granting of an area variance related to accessory uses for a single-family residence. It is, number 2, it is determined that the requested variance relief will not produce any undesirable change in the residential character of the neighborhood and will not be a detriment to nearby properties, as it was noted by the board that the above-ground pool and shed have existed in the same location, I'm just going to say in the same location and on the property for approximately 40 years. Variance relief for the proposed addition will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. There is no apparent method to achieve the benefit the applicant wishes to obtain other than a variance, and the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood or community because of the granting of the variance relief. An area variance is hereby granted, allowing the installation of an above-ground pool on property located at allowing the installation of the above-ground pool, I'm going to change this around a little bit, in such a manner as to result in a side yard setback of 11 feet to the north, representing 4 feet of relief, and the placement of a storage shed resulting in a side yard and rear yard setbacks of 5 feet, representing relief of 10 feet on property located at 6705 Canton Street, tax map number 05-001-0 053-01-01.0. That's your resolution. Sorry, I was trying to think, I was thinking as I was writing everything.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. McCann?
Wait, sorry.
Can we
Motion and
Can we
second.
adding a condition of any update to the survey? And
Yes.
can we add a condition of code enforcement officer checking the relocation of the shed within 60 days? Does that give you enough time?
I hope so. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so do you have a motion and a second?
And the resolution, can I get a motion?
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Bose? Mr. Schoenbach?
Yes.
Mr. Buda?
Yes. Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yeah, just get that as we requested, get this stuff
Okay,
shown
when
on
do you want the survey
as
updated?
soon as possible.
Soon as possible.
Yep, you're gonna have to file this information, reach out to the codes office. She'll tell you what you need to get put on file for this. Once you
Okay.
get that information on there, then you can turn it into the codes office.
Okay, well, I'll go over there tomorrow and see what they can do.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie.
All right, Chair entertain a motion to leave general session to enter into a public hearing for Raymond Petrocchi? Close enough. Connors Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 044.010-003.0. This is a subdivision. And a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second. Any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? We are now in public hearing. Can you please come up and give your name, address? And if you have a copy of your survey, if you can put it up on the board, that would be great. If not, you can have one of ours.
My name is Ray Petrosi, 1566 Connors Road, Baldwinsville. I had my surveyor make out a new map to try to clarify my last one.
Yep.
I don't have that copy, I just have the old copy.
Here.
I'll look down the garage.
All right, can you briefly explain what you're trying to do here?
My neighbor and I, Mr. Chamberlain, bought a piece of landlocked property from town quite a while back. I own one side and the frontage. Mr. Chamberlain owns the other side, and then there's I believe Mr. Stell owns the farm lot in the back. So we took the acre, we just want to legally separate it, so he gets his half, I get my half, and just to eliminate anything that our kids have to go through later.
Okay. Does anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against this application? I ask again, does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to leave the public hearing to enter back into general session. And a motion. So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? We're now back in general session for Raymond Petrosi? Petrosi, sorry. Connors Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 044.01-03.0 for a subdivision. Can you just please give your name and address again?
Raymond Petrosi, 1566 Connors Road, Baldwinsville, New York.
Okay, well, we appreciate the updated survey. It does clarify what we were in question previously. And I think the triangular piece that was shown originally on the, would be the northeast corner, was for some reason shown different than what we see here.
That is actually the middle of the road.
Oh, it goes.
Your lot line goes to the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
why I drew it that way.
Yep. Well, not to get into it, but this updated survey does show correctly. It makes sense now.
That was an old lot line, not an existing.
Yeah.
Yes. So does the board have any comments in regards to this standard subdivision? Both properties have road access. The Patapo, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, that's a separate lot now. It doesn't even look like it was, before it looked like it was associated with the Chamberlain property, but that is not the case. So does the board have any comments regarding the subdivision? Pretty straightforward. Subdivision survey is stamped and signed. All right. Does this require seeker? And this is a type, no, unlisted action? Thank you. So we're going to quickly do seeker here. The board does declare itself a lead agency proceeding on an uncoordinated review. The matter is an unlisted action, and after reviewing the short environmental assessment form, does hereby render a negative declaration finding there are no adverse environmental impacts to be realized. End of motion.
So moved.
Second. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried. The chair entertain a motion to approve Mr. Petrosi's Connors Road, Baldwinsville tax map ID number 044.01-03.0 subdivision as shown, a two-lot subdivision as shown on the CNY land surveying map dated 07/20/24. Do we have an amended number? Anybody see an amended date on this? Oh wait, no, that's not it. Do you know when this was amended?
Probably a week ago. I just got a week ago.
Understood.
I went and saw him right after the last meeting.
Updated, we'll say in the month of August 2024, showing a two-lot subdivision, one being 0.10 acres and the other being 0.11 acres. End of motion.
So moved.
Second. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please reach out to, or have your surveyor reach out to the code's office to submit, and make sure if he can put an amended version on the amended date onto the survey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so chair entertained a motion to leave general session to enter into a public hearing for Infinity Solar, 6845 East Soar Hill Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 049.04-06.6. This is for solar development. And a motion.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Aye. Against? We are now in public hearing. Can you please give your name and address, please?
My name is Rich Slater. The address in question is 6845 East Sorrel Hill Road, Warners, New York. We're looking for a special use permit for a residential ground-mounted solar. Pretty straightforward.
You only have everything on the laptop, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
Can somebody please put something on? I don't know. I'm not even sure. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't think the audience is going to be able to see it, but I'll have it out there.
I can show them up close if they want to see. Pretty straightforward, arrays in the southwestern corner of the property. Evergreens are going to be blocking it from the road. I think 2 of the adjoining neighbors both signed.
Could you tell the audience how many panels?
65.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we in public hearing or?
Yes, we're in public hearing. Does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application? I ask again, does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application? Hearing no comment, Chair entertain a motion to exit public hearing and enter back into general session. End of motion.
Move.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? We're now back into general session for Infinity Solar, 6845 East Sorrel Hill Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 049.04-06.6. This is for a special use permit for a solar development on a residential property. Can you please give your name and address again, please?
Rich Slater, the address in question is 6845 East Sorrel Hill Road, Warners. Sorrel? Sorrel.
Yep. Go ahead, Jim.
I wasn't here last month, so I'll probably have the most questions. So you made a comment, 2 people signed or 2 neighbors signed or something like that?
Yes.
I don't see that on my packet.
You guys
Is it just the,
should have it?
Yeah, we do. Jim just doesn't have
is
it.
it just the acknowledgement of?
Jeff Hills signed it.
Jeff Hills is the only one that's on that packet.
That's not the right.
There also should be a Terrence
There's a
Engels.
Terrence angle on this one.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep.
You also made mention that there's going to be some evergreens that block the view of it.
Yes, sir.
I just don't see that. Maybe I'm looking at a different map.
If you look on page 2 of the plans,
No, absolutely.
So are you adding this evergreen?
are we?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We personally might not be, but a landscaper probably will.
And the trees that are going to be parallel to the house boundary all the way back to?
Those trees are existing.
They're existing.
Yeah.
Because they just don't show on this other map that Jim's looking at.
So it's just those 3 evergreens that are sort of right in front of the panel? there?
Yeah, on the eastern side of it.
What is it, minimum height 8 feet?
Yeah, they are like stunted growth ones. They grow to 8 feet and just stop growing.
So can you explain to me just very briefly, I don't want to take up a lot of time, but just how does this work? You know, I saw there's a microinverter in there. Just explain to me.
Each panel has a microinverter right underneath it.
Okay.
Here we're trenching back. His main service panel is on a pedestal in the northern end of the property.
Now existing?
Yeah, we're updating it. It was pretty old and rusty when I was there. And that's where we're tapping in and backfeeding from there.
And does the array move at all? I'm
No,
assuming it's fixed.
no, it's fixed. The ones that move are cool, but when they don't work, they don't work.
And then the mounting is just screw jacks.
Yeah, metal pylons. If you look on page 4, there is a mount detail that shows the pylons that go, I believe, 6 feet into the ground or 5'6".
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to understand.
No, yeah.
Anybody else on the board have any comments at this time? I know we discussed this in a little more capacity less.
So I will just offer for the board by way of explanation, the resolution that was prepared today and just circulated to you says special use permit and site plan, only because the applicant submitted both applications, and I wasn't sure if that submission had been based, we have a new code officer, I don't know if it was based upon prior recommendation or not. If the site plan was not needed, you can remove it from the resolution. If it is, I erred on the side of caution and threw it in there.
Just to make, I don't know what everybody else's flavor is, but if site plan's required, then it opens up a host of other things, because we have to look at setbacks and existing structures.
True, and typically residential uses don't require site plans. So like I said, I provided it, recognizing that it very likely is not needed. The other thing I'll just add for the chairman's benefit is that in this resolution, the very first numbered paragraph addresses seeker, so you don't have to do it by separate resolution.
Thank you. So this was submitted to the county. We did receive comments back. I don't know if you've seen the comments back.
I did not, no.
There is no comments, so. So there's a lot of whereases on this. The meeting date for this was August 21st, 2024. I'm just going to read the, now therefore be it resolved that the Onondaga County Planning Board has determined that the said referral will have no significant adverse inter-community or county-wide implications and may consequently be acted on solely by the referring board. So that will be part of the entered into the file. If you want a copy of that, Code's office can get you a copy of that.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the board at this point? Okay, I think I can get this one done. Infinity Solar Systems, on behalf of Michelle Thomas, seeks a special use permit approval to install and operate a ground-mounted photovoltaic solar array consisting of 65 solar panels generating 26.650 kilowatts on a 3.66 acre parcel located at 6845 East Sorrel Road, tax map number 049.04-06.6, pursuant to sections 200-90, 200-91, and 200-92 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code. The property is located in an AR 80 agricultural residential zoning district. The property is approved with a single-family dwelling, detached garage, multiple outbuilding, and a pool. Applicant is proposing to install a 65-panel ground-mounted residential 26.650 kilowatt solar array measuring 75 feet by 19 feet in the southwest corner of the property. As proposed, the array will have a 34 feet 8-inch rear setback and a 95 feet 5-inch side yard setback and a height of 11 feet 6 inches. Electrical lines will be installed underground. In support of this request, applicant submitted an application for special use permit approval, an agricultural data statement, correspondence from Michael E. Meal, PE, dated May 17, 2024, a survey prepared by Stephen Seiner, license land surveyor and following plans prepared by Infinity Energy. PV 0.0 cover sheet dated May 17, 2024. PV 1.0 plot plan dated May 17, 2024. PV 2.0 site plan dated May 17, 2024. S1.1 mount detail dated May 17, 2024. E1.1 three-line diagram dated May 17, 2024. E1.2 notes dated May 17, 2024. E1.3 warning labels dated May 17, 2024. And DS plus equipment spec sheets. In addition, a representative from the applicant appeared at a public hearing to explain the proposal and address the concerns of the board. Upon review by the Onondaga County Planning Board, case number Z-24-242 and Z-24-243, it was determined that the referral will have no significant adverse intercommunity or countywide implication and could be acted on solely by the board. Notice of the public hearing was duly published. The public hearing was held on September 10, 2024. No one from the public appeared to either support or oppose the application. Based upon the submissions of the applicant and proof taken by the public hearing, the board resolves as follows. One, the board acknowledged that this matter is subject to an Environmental Quality Review Act and is classified as an unlisted action. The board declared itself lead agency on an uncoordinated review basis. The board, having reviewed the environmental assessment form, does hereby issue a negative declaration determining the site plan approval and the issuance of a special use permit. Determining that the issuance of a special use permit to operate a residential ground-mounted solar array on a property located in the AR-80 district will have no potential adverse environmental impacts, particularly with respect to water, drainage, air quality, soils, or other matters of environmental significance. 2, relative to section 200-80C5 of the zoning code, the board issues the following findings and determination. Because the proposed use is allowed by special use permit, the use complies with the applicable intent and regulations of the code. The proposed use is located on a parcel zone AR-80 and the residential solar array is consistent with the long-term development objectives of the property. The proposed use is appropriate for the amenities available to the property and will not impede development of the area as intended by the town's comprehensive plan. The scale and the design of the use in this compliance with town requirements and because of the placement of the facility on the property shall be visually compatible with conditions of the site and surrounding properties. The design of the site does not create any significant traffic issues. The use is designed and shall be operated in a manner that does minimize off-site disturbance of natural and cultural resources. Because the proposed solar arrays are ground-mounted, the use does not disturb prime agricultural soils and is consistent with the soil capabilities of the site to accommodate the use of and water runoff has been properly controlled. The emissions from the site are minimal and shall not impact surrounding properties. The physical characteristics of the property are suitable for and conducive to the proposed solar facility without modification to the established character of the surrounding area. And the cumulative impacts of the solar array use will not unreasonably interfere with or diminish the continued use, enjoyment, or growth of the surrounding area of the community. The special use permit is hereby granted in accordance with section 200-21 of the zoning code. End of resolution.
So moved.
Second. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Bose?
Yes.
Mr. Schausenbach?
Yes.
And Mr. Buda?
How much is
Yes.
How much power?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Approved.
Is that the grid? No idea. We can ask Google.
What was your name again?
Caitlin?
And you're in contact with Mike?
Yes.
All right, I'll email you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the generic standby candidate is 26 kV, so there you go, the powerhouse. Power goes out.
All right. Chair entertain a motion to enter into a public hearing for TJA New York 1320 Kingdom Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 042.01-03.1 for an area variance and site plan amendment public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? We're now in public hearing. Please give your name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Matt Kerwin with Barclay Damon, here for TJA, and the product address is 1320 Kingdom Road, Baldwinsville, 13027. So for those that weren't here last month, we had come back before this board requesting an amendment of our variance that was obtained last February, for a couple reasons. One, there was a discrepancy between the information that was presented in our application at that time and the information in the approval resolution. So we are back here to request that the resolution be amended to reflect all four side setback variances that were requested at that time and shown in the plans. And at the same time, we have proposed some changes to the plans based on the amended variances we were requesting. And that was really a function of one change since the project was approved a year ago. And that was the addition of a strip of land on the western side here that was discovered to be necessary when it was determined that the town, this is the old town landfill, the town did not own all the property on which the project site was to be located. So TGA went ahead and acquired land from the neighboring property owner, Paul Johnson, conveyed it to the town. It was combined with the existing landfill property as part of the subdivision this board approved earlier this year, I believe in March. So now we're back to request kind of an amendment verification of the prior variance request, but also at the same time to propose an amendment to the site plan, which was deemed necessary by this board last month. And I'm just going to walk through those changes very quickly. So this is the existing access road here. The proposed access road was going to come around through here. There were some equipment pads proposed for this area. That design has been changed. We've also been able to pull some of, and this colored area represents steep slopes. We've also been able to pull some of the arrays off the steep slopes and move them over in this area here.
Could you pull the map up? We'll
Yes.
It might be able to clip into that, the top black ones.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem, sure. So we had gotten rid of the road that was proposed here and reconfigured this a little bit and moved the pads from here to this area here. That did away with a lot of the impervious surface coverage that was in this area. We also pulled some arrays away from the steep slopes in this area, down here, in this area here, and moved them over closer to this property line here. We're not going to be moving anything beyond the existing fence. The fence around the perimeter of the site isn't changing. The only caveat to that is the existing or the proposed gate that we had gotten approval for originally is being moved farther into the site. And that's a function of grid not wanting the poles with our fenced area. So the poles will now be outside of the fence, outside of the gate, near the entrance. We're also moving some of the landscaping inside the fence. It provides for better sight lines. And with respect to the variances we had requested previously, the prior approval had referenced three variances. One for the rear yard, 55 feet, where 100 feet was required. One for the west side yard at 20 feet. where 100 feet was required, and one at 58 feet on the east side yard where 100 feet was required. The front yard setback of 52 feet, it was shown on the plans, but it wasn't referenced in the approval resolution, so that was one of the reasons that prompted us to come back. With these changes in the design, though, we've been able to further minimize those requested variances. So the front yard setback went from 52 to 53 feet. The rear yard went from 55 feet to 72 feet. So we're shrinking that back in a little bit. The west side yard went from 20 feet to 24 feet, and the east side yard went from 58 feet to 90 feet. So overall, an improved design, and we think just a better fit for the site, and it minimizes what was approved previously, essentially. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Just hold tight. So being that we're in public hearing, does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application? I ask again, does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to exit public hearing to enter back into general session.
Move. Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? We're now back in general session for TJA New York 1320 Kingdom Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 042-01-03.1. This is for an area variance and a site plan amendment. Would you please give your name and address again?
Sure, Matt Kerwin, for a project at 1320 Kingdom Road, Baldwinsville, 13027.
Okay. So before we get into any comments that the board might have, we did receive comments this was submitted to the county planning. We did receive comments back for both the site plan and the area variance. They both have the same comments, so once again, there's a lot of whereases, but I'm going to read the now therefore be it resolved that this is for both the site plan and the area variance. Now therefore be it resolved that the Onondaga County Planning Board has determined that the said referral will have no significant adverse inter-community or county-wide implications. The board has offered the following comments in regards to the above referral. The board reiterates requirements from previous referrals. The board notes that the lack of supporting information commonly required for municipal review of a larger scale solar projects. The board recommends that the town require the applicant to submit a decommissioning plan, visual impact study, and information relative to responsibilities regarding the ongoing maintenance and monitoring of the landscape and underlying landfill. Number two, the applicant must continue to coordinate drainage requirements with the Onondaga County Department of Transportation. The municipality must ensure any mitigation as may be determined by the department is reflected on the project plans prior to or as a condition of municipal approval. So that's the end of the comments. I believe we've already addressed all those in the original approval. We do have a decommissioning plan. We do have the landscape plan and a maintenance plan. And then with the final comment with the drainage requirements and any other requirements from the DOT that will be monitored and maintained, which we accept that. So, does this board have questions at this point?
The only question I had is on the east side of the property. I thought we were going to put some screening there. The northeast side of the property.
It's farm field, is it not, on that side?
It is.
With the grades the way they are, though, I don't know, doesn't the grade go up? Isn't everything going uphill there?
Yeah.
They are. I mean, you're climbing a hill, but when you drive by, you can see those panels. I was trying to go back in my files. I couldn't find it. I thought we required some type of plantings on that northeast corner. But do you have anything on that from previous submissions?
This was based on the approved plan, so if it's not reflected there, it's
Okay.
I don't recall that. I think we just had the visual up on what would be northwest corner.
I'm sorry, yeah, northwest.
Yeah, along the road.
Along the road, we do have.
Yeah, that's right here.
Yeah.
I thought we were doing something on the northeast, but then again, it's getting close to the end of the year, so I'm pretty tired, so it could be just me.
So as mentioned, the site plan has been improved, it's been amended, the setbacks have been all improved from what was originally approved, besides the ones that weren't showing in the resolution. Even that was improved from where it was previously. Does the board have any other comments, questions?
Get to do a lot of reading today.
He said leading to the one. All right. Bear with me again. All right, TJA New York, Van Buren Solar Farm LLC seeks an area variance and amended site plan for site plan approval and special use permit to operate a 5 megawatt ground mounted photovoltaic solar energy facility on 34 acres located on Kingdom Road, tax map number 042.01-03.1, pursuant to sections 200-87 and 200-21 and Article 15 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code. The property is located in the AR 80 agricultural residential zoning district. The applicant previously received area variance relief on or about February 14, 2023. Thereafter, on or about October 10, 2023, the applicant was granted a special use permit and obtained site plan approval to construct and operate the proposed ground-mounted photovoltaic solar energy facility on the property. The board notes that the property, which is owned by the town of Van Buren, is the site of the town's former landfill and is currently a state superfund remediation property. Since obtaining the necessary approvals, the applicant has acquired additional land situated to the west and has conveyed such to the town. As a result of such acquisition, the application requests that the previous approvals be revised to reflect a new lot line. The additional land has allowed the applicant to relocate a portion of the solar array away from the on-site slopes and will improve overall site design and reduce impervious surface area. Existing fencing will not be relocated and the proposed facility will not encroach onto existing wetlands. In support of its request, applicant submitted an application for amended site plan, area variance relief, and amended special use permit approval.
Scratch that last one, that, just leave it at area variance relief and amended site plan.
And agricultural data statement correspondence from Matthew Kerwin, Esquire, dated August 30th, 2024, and the following amended site plans prepared by CNS Companies titled Van Buren Solar Site, consisting of the following. 1 G-001 title sheet dated August 30th, 2024. 2 C-100 property plan dated August 30th, 2024. 3 C-101 aerial site plan dated August 30th, 2024. Number 4 C-102 overall site plan dated August 30th, 2024. Number 5 C-103 grading plan dated August 30th, 2024. Number 6 C-104 landscaping plan dated August 30th, 2024. Number 7 C-105 erosion and sediment control plan dated August 30th, 2024. Number 8 C-501 site details dated August 30th, 2024. Number 9 C-502 fence details dated August 30th, 2024. Number 10 C-503 details dated August 30th, 2024. Number 11 C-504 erosion and sediment control details dated August 30th, 2024. And number 12 C-505 erosion and sediment control details August 30th, 2024. Is that correct with 3 erosion and sediment control detail sheets?
I flipped through the sheets.
So
lot of our residents, so.
In addition, a representative for the applicant appeared at the public hearing to explain the proposal and address the concerns of the board. Notice of the public hearing was duly published. The public hearing was held on September 10th, 2024. No one from the public appeared to either support or oppose the application. Based upon the submissions of the applicant and proof taken at the public hearing, the board resolves as follows.
I'm going to interrupt.
Yes.
For number one, just for that whole paragraph, simply just say that the board ratifies and reaffirms its secret determination as determined on November 15, 2022. Then just go to number two. We're just ratifying and reaffirming because they aren't changing anything from an environmental standpoint.
Mark, you're doing so good.
And you don't need to say what I just said. Just go to number two.
Going to number two. Just write my whole. Number two, but you're good. Relative to section 200-87 of the zoning code and the request for an area variance to reduce the side yard setback from 100 feet to 24 feet along the western boundary, the side yard setback from 100 feet to 90 feet along the eastern boundary, the front yard setback from 100 feet to 53 feet, and the rear yard setback from 100 feet to 72 feet. The board issues the following findings and determinations. The abutting land, A, the abutting land use is primarily active agricultural fields and the property is a state superfund property. It is determined that the variance relief will not produce any undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood and will not be a detriment to nearby properties. B, due to the state fund status of the property, area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environment conditions in the neighborhood or district. Neighboring property owners did not express any opposition to the variance. There is no apparent method to achieve the benefit applicant wishes to obtain other than a variance, and the benefit to the applicant does not outweigh any detriment, or the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood or community because of granting the variance relief. 3, relative to the issuance of an amended special use permit, the board ratifies and reaffirms its prior findings and determinations. 4, an amended special use permit is hereby granted.
So here's a question. I repeated the other conditions because I wasn't sure what the status was of those conditions, if they still needed to be there or if any of them could be struck. I wasn't.
I'm going to leave all of them in at this point. A, the applicant shall submit a stormwater pollution prevention plan to the town of Van Buren engineer for review and approval,
That was done.
which is complete.
Just a question. You mentioned amended special use permit. Should that be site plan?
You're not there yet.
Okay.
That's coming.
It's okay. Because the special use permit is what has the decommissioning plan,
Gotcha.
and that's what they'll still want to have as well.
Gotcha.
B, applicant shall submit a revised decommissioning plan to legal counsel for the town of Van Buren for review and approval, and shall submit a bond for the decommission of the photovoltaic solar energy facility in the amount equivalent to 150% of the cost of removal and restoration of the site in accordance with section 200-9302 of the town code. Have we confirmed that that's been complete?
No. I don't know.
Which is not
Gotta
complete.
kind of wait for this.
Yeah. 5, area variance relief to reduce the side yard setback from 100 feet to 24 feet along the western boundary, and the side yard setback from 100 feet to 90 feet along the eastern boundary, and the front yard setback from 100 feet to 53 feet, and the rear yard setback from 100 feet to 72 feet is hereby granted. The board does further grant amended site plan approval in accordance with the aforementioned site plan documents prepared by CNS. End of resolution.
So moved.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. McMahon? Yes. Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mr. Wellman?
Yes.
Mr. Bose? Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
And Mr. Bianca.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
That's all I said.
Chair entertain a motion to enter the leave general session, to enter a public hearing for Kevin McLaughlin, 206 Leopold Boulevard, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 060-03-05.0. This is for a front yard setback. End of motion. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? We are now in public hearing. Somebody here to speak for the applicant?
Hi there.
Give your name and address, please.
Yes, Kevin McLaughlin. It's for 206 Leopold Ave in Seneca Knolls.
Can you give a brief description of what you're looking to do here?
Yeah, she has a set of front steps here she needs replaced, and she'd like to replace that with a covered deck, which would be conveyance from her front porch over to the driveway with a railing all around it and a covered area in the winter for her. She's getting a little older and getting in and out's a little tougher for her.
So, in our past meeting, we requested an updated survey.
Yes, you have the updated survey that was done about 6 weeks ago, and did I give you a copy of that or not?
I don't.
I have stamped copies out in the car. This is a copy of the stamped copies.
Can you grab those?
I sure can. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I thought you had those all. Yeah, let me get those real quick.
Yep, thank you.
Is that the last one?
What's the drawing?
Well, I'll get that next. Oh, I'm going there.
We got this again.
I'm going there.
Okay.
One step at a time here.
July 24th, recertified on July 2024.
I don't have that.
She got yours.
That is the revised one we have.
I don't have that.
Well, it's up there in the corner, the revision.
I got hers. Thanks for running.
Sorry about that. There's
Thank you.
copies. She's going to want one of those too, I think, please.
Okay, so being that we're in public hearing, does anybody in the audience want to speak for or against this application?
I have signatures from her
You have this.
neighbors. Okay.
Appreciate that. Does anybody want to speak for or against this application? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to close the public hearing and enter back into general session.
Move.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried. We're now back in general session for Kevin McLaughlin, 206 Leopold Boulevard, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 060-03-05.0. This is for a front yard setback. Can you please give your name and address again, please?
Yes, Kevin McLaughlin for 206 Leopold Ave in Seneca Knolls.
Okay, so now that we have a survey here that was recertified on July 22nd, 2024 from the actual survey that was done on July 8th, 1959. For anybody who remembers that?
Yeah.
So the survey is good. The one thing we don't have is the actual porch being shown on it. Now we do. So you're looking for a 9-foot by 24-foot porch, covered porch.
Yeah, the deck will be 8 by 24. The 9 represents an overhang, yes.
And you're looking for a front yard setback, is this correct? So what are you looking for a front yard setback of?
The maximum it will encroach into the current setback is 4.6 feet. The house is a little askew there. So it's 4 on one side, 4.6 on the driveway side.
The front yard setback per code needs to be,
It says 30 feet on the application, and they're requesting variance relief of approximately 26 feet.
to 26 feet, correct?
That's correct.
Yes, to that. So I would ask, similar to what we did for the pool, the first agenda item, when this is filed, that the file copy shows the porch on it with the required setback shown on there of what that setback is. So you're looking for 4.6 feet.
Yes.
The board have any comments or questions?
I drove down through there, I don't think it's gonna be detrimental to the neighborhood at all.
How did you go about determining that relief?
I'm sorry?
How did you go about determining the 4.6?
From the setback here, that's right what the house is from the road. 34.4 on this side and 35 on this side. So if I put my 9 foot on that, I'm gonna have encroach 4 feet on this side and 4.6 on this side, because the house apparently is a little askew of the line.
Okay, so you're going off the plans to determine, since it's not drawn, okay. All right.
I just have it on that one copy there. I put the porch on a copy of the architect's plan.
And your side, so you're showing steps going down into the driveway, and that's the correct location of the proposed steps?
Yes.
Board have any other comments?
The deck is 8 foot wide, correct?
Yes.
So 8 off of 35 is,
Well, it'll have a foot overhang, so
Okay, all right.
we got it.
Yeah, the 8
Okay.
foot is the deck and then the extra foot's for the overhang.
all right, yeah, I don't see that anywhere here, so, okay.
So the relief would be the 9 feet off of the 34.4 that's there for the building face now. Any other questions or comments from the board? Ma'am?
Did you close the public hearing?
Yes, I did.
Okay, sorry. All right, so we're gonna give this one a
Do you
crack.
want me to do the,
Nope.
okay? Just got put in my place, I like it.
So, here's the resolution. Kevin McLaughlin is applicant on behalf of Patricia Leonard, the owner, of property located at 206 Leopold Avenue. As a, I'm reading something. Okay, so this is Buren, sorry. Folks. Leopold Boulevard has applied for area variance relief from section 200-45 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code relating to the front yard setback required for the construction of a front porch consisting of 9 feet by 24 feet, which shall be covered on property located at, on property located in the R10 zoning district. Section 200-45 of the zoning code requires the front yard setback for principal structures in the R10 zoning district to be 30 feet. The applicant appeared before the zoning board of appeals seeking front yard setback relief to allow for the construction of the proposed porch addition. A public hearing on the application was held on September 10, 2024. In support of the application, the applicant submitted an application for variance, agricultural data statement. So I'm just making sure. Do we have a notification to the property owners?
Yes.
Okay, and a short environmental assessment form, as well as a survey prepared by, who was that prepared by, guys? Cottrell, land surveyors, dated, was recently dated July 22nd, 2024. Based upon the foregoing, the board resolves as follows. Number one, the matter is a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act as it involves the granting of an area variance related to a single-family residence. Number two, it is determined that the requested variance relief will not produce any undesirable change in the residential character of the neighborhood and will not be a detriment to the nearby properties, as it was noted by the board that the porch is consistent with the surrounding area. Variance for the proposed addition will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. There is no apparent method to achieve the benefit the applicant wishes to obtain other than the variance, and the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood or community because of the granting of the variance relief. Number three, an area variance is hereby granted, allowing the construction of a covered porch measuring 9 feet by 24 feet on the front of the residential structure located on 206 Leopold Boulevard. Tax map number 060.03-05.0. In such a manner as to result in a front yard setback of, is it 26 feet or 25.6? Because it's 4 point, resulting in a front yard setback of 25.6 feet. Conditioned upon, such approval is hereby conditioned upon the applicant submitting an as-built survey. Does that work? An as-built survey. That's it.
So moved.
Well, we just,
Good.
just mention that we did want the,
As-built survey.
yes.
That was the condition.
Thank you.
I listened to half of it. Give me the setback again, because I think it's 25.4, not 25.6.
I thought it was 4.5 feet. So four
It's
and
the
a-
relief is 4.5, 4.6.
4.6
Setback is
feet.
25.4.
Okay, I was thinking 4.5. So is it, it is 4 feet 6 inches, not 4.5 feet?
I believe that is in decimals up there. What is that?
I just wanna make sure.
4.6, it is going to encroach over.
So
So
then it is 25 point, sorry. I was
25.4.
thinking of 4.5, sorry. Thank you. I'm glad somebody listened.
I just listened to that
Start doing numbers.
6 inches.
Look at the whole road.
Tear it down, 3 inches too big.
So end of motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Ms. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes? Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Bose?
Yes.
Mr. Trausenberg?
Yes.
And Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Get to work.
Approved. So please coordinate with the codes office, submit the signed, recertified survey showing the measurements of the deck and showing the deck on there with the required setback, please, when you file it with the codes office,
Okay.
as per the condition. Get your map back.
No, thank you. One copy of that.
Except the cover sheet you gave us.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. All right, here we go again. Chair entertains a motion to exit general session to enter into a public hearing for Vito Gerasimovich, 3546 Walters Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 055.1-01-06.2. This is for a use variance. End of motion.
Moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? We are now in public hearing. Can you please come up and give your name and address, please?
Vito Gerasimovich, 3546 Walters Road, Syracuse, New York, 13209.
Do you have a copy of this? Can you put that up on this board, please? Unless you have a copy of
I
it.
have the,
You have the large copy of it?
Yeah.
Even better. Can you post that up there, please? All right, can you explain what you were trying to look to do here?
we're just trying to open up a truck repair shop. Trying to get the approved by DMV.
So you're looking, so just for clarification for the audience, you're looking to, so right now you were previously approved to do truck cleaning and medium truck maintenance. Is that correct?
Honestly, I don't know, because I'm confused from the last time I was here from in 2022. But yes, we were approved for truck washout
Yep.
and then and then for trucking.
But you're doing no maintenance on the site today?
I thought it was just truck.
Yeah, we do a little bit. We work on our trucks, yes.
Okay. So you're looking to do heavy truck maintenance?
Right. Take in some customers.
Okay. So this, just for other clarification, this is for heavy truck maintenance is not allowed in the zoning of this property or even the adjacent zones. I guess I would look to our attorney that we discussed this at a pre-agenda meeting. We don't think that a special use permit is the way to go with this. Or a use variance, sorry, excuse me.
So.
We're still in public hearing, are we not?
I know, but I need to clarify this. I don't want to close the public hearing if,
So just by way of explanation, use variance standards are set by state law, not Town of Van Buren code. And there are certain criteria you as the applicant have to demonstrate. And one of those things is that you can't use the property for a use that's permitted. And speaking quite frankly, that's not a burden you can demonstrate because you already have uses on the property being performed that are compliant. So that's a hurdle that you can't satisfy. So given the fact that, so there's a couple different options. Do you want me to keep going or do you want me to stop?
go ahead.
So some of the things that were discussed, and with our code officer here, perhaps we can have more of a discussion, but when there's property that you want to use it for a use not otherwise contemplated by the code, your choices are a use variance, you don't satisfy that, so that's not available to you. Second thing would be whether or not the property can be rezoned, but you have to avoid a situation with spot zoning. In other words, you look to the properties that are adjacent to it and see if any of those properties zoning would allow you to use the property in the way that you'd like. In the town of Van Buren, that's not a choice for you. The property surrounding it would not allow this heavy machinery, maintenance use.
Yep.
Thank you. And I recognize that in the town of Geddes side, the use is consistent, but that's, unfortunately, it's on a different municipality. So that, the only other alternative that was considered is whether or not what's known as a PID, a planned industrial district.
IMP.
Oh, that's right, it's not. It would make sense if it was PID.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense.
And we
It's an
actually discussed
IMP.
that too. It's an IMP, my apologies. The IMP zoning, whether that is available, where you would rezone it, and what that means, it's essentially like an overlay district, but that requires you to go before the town board, so you would have an application, and you'd have to sit down first with our code officer, because there's certain criteria that you have to satisfy by local law, and it would be whether or not that IMP district would give you that right. Now, one of the criteria is that there's 10 acres. There's some discrepancy, if I remember correctly, and how much acreage do you have there, sir?
So what happened when I purchased the property at the auction, so that half of the building was sitting on somebody else's property, so we purchased additional, so it's total is like 9, it's almost 10 acres.
See, that almost matters.
Yep.
You need to pinpoint how much, because in order to...
I don't remember how much, no, it's 9.6.
No, I
Well,
appreciate
your
it.
engineer should be able to clarify.
No, we have that, I mean, there was,
Well, here's why I'm asking, sir, under the terms of our
It
code.
says site area, excuse me, on the map, 10.42 acres.
Yes, but when you look it up in other references like tax map or other places.
That's why I'm
it's
asking.
There's
slightly
discrepancy in what the actual acreage of.
So
lot
if you
is.
can confirm with your surveyor what your acreage is, the code requires 10 acres under common ownership. You may have that. I don't know because of the discrepancy in different documents. If you have that, what you can do is talk with our code officer, see if rezoning this into an IMP, that overlay, that industrial overlay district, which would allow you this use, whether that's something that you'd like to pursue. If you do, then you present a proposal to the town board. They look at it, it's a rezoning essentially, which requires the passage of a local law. So just very briefly, that procedure is you present it to the town board. They give an indication whether they're in favor of it. If they're generally willing to entertain such a proposal, they send it here. This board, in fact, we have somebody here later this evening who's going through this process. They look at what the rezoning proposal is. This board does, they give a referral back to the town board. The town board then receives that referral, schedules a public hearing, and if they are in favor, they pass a local law allowing for the rezoning change. That, sir, would be your avenue to use the property in the way you're proposing.
I'm just kind of confused because you got a big red GNC Food. There's another one on Winchell Road. They have B&B signs, and I think your town garage right almost across the street. So, what were they grandfathered in, or how did they operate?
Sitting before you this evening, I don't know offhand. I'd have to look at the actual property, see what their zoning is. I don't know.
And we gotta also, it'd be the understanding of whether or not it's heavy truck maintenance. What they're actually doing is heavy truck maintenance and what you're looking to do. I mean, it could be.
Right, but I'm just trying to clarify because I'm confused. So my question was, when I was here in 2022, I was approved for trucking.
Correct.
That I could work on my trucks, but not the customer.
You are not allowed to have a heavy truck maintenance in I believe this is an industrial A zoning. You are allowed to do what was granted previously, but you are not allowed to do heavy maintenance on heavy trucks or maintenance on heavy trucks in an industrial A. So the outline that our town's attorney just mentioned is we went through back and forth with all this in the pre-agenda meeting, trying to look at exhausting all of the ways we can get through this, and that's the one we've come up with. And the biggest thing is clarifying whether or not the lot equals 10 acres or not. Even though you show, I believe this is 10.42 or 10.22, there's discrepancy on what that actually is, and you can't go to a rezoning in this IMP unless you have 10 acres of land. So
if I don't have so if I don't have a 10 acres, that means it's out of the picture?
Correct. So this is the reason why I opened the public hearing, and I didn't want to close it or even get into an audience discussion, because I really wanted to get all this in front of you as part of this to understand your options. And whether we close this public hearing or we leave it open is all going to depend on.
This public hearing is specific to
We're
the
gonna
use
close it.
variance, so it needs to be closed because
It has nothing to do with the use variance anymore. So let me do this. Let's close this public hearing now that all this information's out. There's really no reason to look into the audience for any comments. So Chair entertain a motion to close the public hearing and enter back into general session.
So moved.
Hearing first and second, any comments?
Yeah, quick comment. We opened a hearing for an issue that is not under our code, so shouldn't we just strike the hearing from the record rather than open and close it?
well, no, because he filed an application.
Okay, all right.
So at this time, he can withdraw the application, but you had the hearing because that's the process.
Okay.
If he knows that it's going to just be a flat denial, perhaps he wants to withdraw the experience application, and the board doesn't need to take further action on that application.
Okay.
Did I get a first and second?
You did.
So we've got the one comment. Hearing the one comment, any, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried. We're now back into general session for Vito Gerasimovich, 3546 Walters Road, Baldwinsville. Tax map ID number 055.1-01-06.2. Can you just give your name and address, please? Again?
Vito Gerasimovich, 3546 Walters Road, Syracuse, New York, 13209.
So, as mentioned in the public hearing, those are basically your options. So I think the first thing, the special or the use variance is not going to work. So you're going to pull that application. I think the next item is really to verify your lot size and whether or not you want to go through the process as outlined by our town attorney, submitting an application for a zone change to an IMP to allow that, which would then go in front of the town board as an application at this time.
Would you like a piece of
I
paper?
can give you a piece of paper.
No, that's okay.
So just, are you agreeable to just withdrawing your use variance application? Because you can't satisfy the criteria?
I think so, yeah.
So,
Or what do you think?
no, the use variance, we just need to hear from you that that's just not the route. So you have to officially pull the application. We can't pull it from you.
And then apply,
And then you would have to look at whether or not you want to go through that process with the town board of rezoning it to an IMP, which is a planned industrial
you
development.
guys not town board, or?
No, we're the zoning and planning board. The town board is the elected officials of the town.
Oh, okay.
And they're the ones who would have to, they're the ones that approve any zone changes within the town, but then they refer it to our board to give them recommendations based on that zone change application. And then it goes back to the town board, and the town board ultimately makes that decision based on our recommendations. So what I would say is, if you could confirm that you have 10 acres at least minimum on that lot, I would come in, meet with the codes officer.
So my question is, in 22, I had the land survey done when the two lots merged. Do you need updated one, or would that one work?
What year was it again?
22.
It would still be
It's still
good.
good.
Okay.
What we have now is a map from an architect that is taking maybe an approximation of your boundary lines. We need that survey to verify the 10 acres.
Okay, correct.
And that's, I mean, we don't need it as a board, you need it to confirm it, because that's the only way you're gonna be able to get that process moving, if that's the route you would like to go.
Okay, so if I don't have it, can I purchase it from the neighbor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
Just so you know, by withdrawing your application, you don't lose the right to resubmit that application in the
Okay.
future. You have the right to do that.
Okay.
And this is a lengthy process. It's going to take quite a bit of time, probably 3 months, maybe 4 months.
Well, last time I was here for 2 years. New York State?
Thank you. All right, we're done with public hearings. All right, next on the agenda item, Jed Magid? Good job. Thank you. 6963 River Road, Memphis, text map ID number 045.01-05.3/046.01-5.4. This is for a subdivision. Can you please come up, give your name, address, and explain what you're looking to do?
Sure. Jed Baggett, 6959 River Road, Memphis, 13112. There was two different addresses, as you just heard. Ultimately, we're trying to combine 6959, where our residence is, with the vacant lot we had purchased next door, 6963, combine them into one parcel in an effort to obtain a building permit to build a pole barn.
map here, when you combine the two parcels, what is your total acreage going to be?
I believe it is 2.4.
I wasn't sure if that was one of the parcels.
No, they're both 1.2 currently.
So you've gone through, based on some of our emails going back and forth and conversations with other members of the town. So you need this to get to build that pole barn, which would then meet all the setbacks that are required. Based on the location you have here is all good. You went through the process to get a quick claim deed, which was then dated August 26, 2024.
That's correct.
Is there anything that this does that modifies our process moving forward, the quick claim deed?
Nope.
Okay. That's me not being an attorney, so.
Fair enough.
So
Apologize.
you're just combining two lots?
Yes, sir.
Is the shed over to the side, the writing is so small, is that a proposed shed or is that an existing shed?
That's an existing shed.
Okay. As you go through the process, just label that setback for us so we make sure it complies.
Sure.
Just like we did with the pool, the first, we just need to make sure that that's in conformance. So as part of this process, we have to obviously go through a public hearing, just like we've done with all of these other ones throughout the night. I don't see any issue with this. Does the board have any other comments at this point before we schedule a public hearing for this?
I'd just like to see a new map
Yeah.
with setbacks for the pole barn and whatnot.
Yeah, and I would say if we can get, a copy of like that for the public hearing, then it'll be a lot easier for us to read and be able to make all the approvals. There is no way to make any sort of conditional approval without going to the public hearing. Courtney, just asking.
Some municipalities have processes in their codes for what they refer to as like a re-subdivision or boundary line adjustment, or, we don't.
Okay.
This is a subdivision. It's still, whether you're adding them or splitting them, we
Yep.
call it a subdivision.
Understood. Okay. So Chair.
October 8th.
Yep, go ahead.
October 8th.
Thank you. We'll do that with the next one. Chair, entertain a motion to set a public hearing for Jed Magid for 6963 River Road, Memphis, tax map ID number 046.010-0-0-5.4 for subdivision scheduled for October 8th, 2024. End of motion. Move. Second. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Carried. Only thing I ask that, so we have a deadline for submission for the next meeting, so the ask of the board to show the setbacks for the existing shed be included on that and have it back to us before.
It's the 27th, the Friday, is it?
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
Friday, 2
27th.
weeks. The 20,
August.
no.
Or September 26th.
Wouldn't it be the week before that? When's our?
Well, if it's the 8th, you want it 10
Yes,
days.
the 27th, yeah, the 27th. So we would need it back by August 27th. So it's basically 2 weeks.
September 27th?
September 27th, sorry. What did I say? Sorry, September 27th. That gets us in front of us before our pre-agenda meeting, which is the following Tuesday.
And that's the setbacks for the shed and the proposed pole barn.
Yes, correct.
This doesn't have to go to county, right?
Nope.
No, this doesn't have to go to county, so we don't have to worry about that because it's just 2 lots, so. We're all set.
Is the setback 15?
It depends on what zone you're in. You gotta look it up.
I would just clarify with the codes office
Yeah.
what it is. I don't, unless I open up the book, I don't know what it is.
Mark, when the survey is, when it's approved, he needs a Mylar for that, right?
Yes,
Will he need the proposed pole barn on that one or no?
I would show it on. I mean, you're gonna label it proposed, but it's,
Okay, I just want
It
to make
should
sure
be
when they
shown on
talk to
there,
their
just like the
surveyor
shed.
that they know that they need to ask for that Mylar.
Dan's in the way. Yeah, once it's approved, you'll have to submit the final Mylar, which I'll sign and everything. Good enough. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are you done?
All right.
Feel bad for Dan, though, sitting in the same one.
Dan's been doing this for a long time.
Don't feel bad.
Sometimes you're at the end, sometimes you're at the beginning.
All right. Final item on the agenda, Eldon Homes, Comain Road, Baldwinsville, tax map ID number 034.01-02.0/036-03-21 and 034.01-15. This is for a proposed zone change. Dan, can you come up, give your name, address, and tell us all about it?
My name is Dan Barnaba. I'm owner of Eldon Homes. We're a home building company and land development company. Our business address is 7854 Oswego Road, Liverpool, New York. We've been developing property in the Onondaga County area, specifically the northern and western suburbs, for the better part of the last 25 years. And we have some experience with the town of Van Buren with some previous development in the Harbor Heights community. What I'm prepared to get your feedback on today is a proposal to develop some remaining parcels that were originally owned by the owners of the Harbor Heights, the original Harbor Heights landowners. We have purchased or are consummating the purchase of the last 3 tax ID parcels, and we want to develop them for residential use. And I'm following your process here before the board to hopefully get your referral to the planning, to the town board. I have some maps to share with the planning board, give you some ideas, some thoughts that we have so far. Before I drill down though, perhaps I can answer some of your questions.
Well, I guess we start with drilling it down. So this went in front of the town board, it's been referred back to our board. So that's already gone through that process. So we are now at the point of, so you want to change this to a PUD, is that what?
Well, I'm agreeable to what I think works best for your planning board and ultimately your town board. I'm giving you some density options. Currently it's zoned R40, and I want to clarify a couple of things. That permits the development of the property for residential use, which is exactly what we intend to do. But we're asking for perhaps a more thoughtful way of developing the property, which will involve in create more housing units, but perhaps a better asset to the municipality as far as the way the road would be shaped, the number of tax ID parcels that will pay into your maintenance of your road and your other public facilities, and I think in a way that will be as respectful as we can be to the adjacent property owners. And also, if you look carefully at your R40 zoning, it discourages the development of the property for residential use when there's access to public utilities. And approximately 20 years ago, one of your most significant public utilities in that area was improved. A pump station was upsized and a sewer line was increased in size to accommodate existing parcels and adjacent parcels that would be developed in the future. As of today, the property has easy access to public water and public sewer. So I think that zoning it, creating a housing development with a lot size that's directed by our R40 zoning would be inappropriate, and we're seeking for smaller lots. In exchange for that, I've developed or created some plans I think that creates some nice buffer opportunities to the neighbors, and as few road cuts as possible, as opposed to, I think we're getting rid of at least one or two road cuts that could be unnecessary and a little intrusive on neighbors. So I could show you the max density map, but I'm suspicious that that's something that would be the most advisable. So I'm going to show you, I think, what I would consider the preferred layout. And I have to show it to you in two maps. One is, you have access to a couple of tools in your zoning regs. One is a PUD. And if you gave me the PUD, it doesn't suggest a particular density. It just suggests that we discuss which lot sizes are appropriate, so I can get to the density that I want and that you would allow by you rezoning the property to PUD. Alternatively, you can use the clustering provision in your reg, which allows us to change the shapes of the lots in a way to achieve the same result. So I'm agreeable to whatever your planning board and town board seems appropriate. The previous sections of the property were developed in a PUD, so you may find that that would be symbiotic or agreeable to the neighboring parcels as well.
So yeah, let's go through what your preferred requests are here.
It'd be easier, I have at least one that you can have up there. I'll try to get through your magnets and everything. This is an R15 layout respecting all the layout requirements of your R15 zone. Does that work best where it is, or? And although it gets us a lot count that we would appreciate using, and by the way, I should mention that I'm showing you 2 of the 3 parcels. So we're interested in the same form of zoning for each one. This is probably the most impactful as far as number of housing units. And I'll get to the other one, I'll circle back to the other one. It's a little easier to lay out.
This is the only one with access off a downer? Is that correct?
This is primary access off a downer and then a rear exit off of Comain Road West.
Right, but the other lots don't have access off a downer, or do they?
They do. There would be one road cut off downer and one road cut off Comain.
Thank you.
Now, with ownership of the property, there's a sliver of land that comes into Comain Road between 2 existing houses. The layout that I'm showing and the next layout I'm going to show you doesn't take advantage of that. So read into that what you want. If I'm not going to use that piece of property, it's available for me to do whatever I want with it. I can include it with a building lot that we're proposing, or I can divvy it up and sell it to the neighbors. I can even put an easement over it if the town sees fit to have access to the property. Now, we like to take advantage of clustering because not only do we think it's more respectful to the neighbors, but I think it gives me better home sites and far less road. This layout, I think I show you at 2,525 lineal feet of road, which is really the most expensive part of our land development work. I'm going to show you a plan that's taking advantage of either the clustering or the PUD.
How many lots?
That shows 48.
48 lots?
This accomplishes the same thing, but all the people that back up to this property on Comain Road would suddenly get a large open area behind their homes. And again, all we're really doing is we're taking advantage of the fact that you let us make the lots a little narrower, maybe a little deeper, or not so deep. But not only are we creating open area for stormwater management in at least one area where we could have a big facility, but this open buffer really allows me to keep whatever vegetation is already there. It's not the low point of the property, so as of our first determination is we won't need it for stormwater management. You know, what I usually have to deal with a situation like that is who's gonna own it. We're prepared to own it. We're prepared to create a homeowners association. We can put covenants on the property. We could put an environmental easement on the property, or conservation easement, I would call it. I could even sell it. And sometimes that's not very practical, because you gotta find a way to divvy it up and divide it all up and deal with a bunch of attorneys, but there's the possibility of selling it. And that's what we did in the original development of Harper Heights. I can't remember the road, I think I'm gonna get it wrong, but we had these large ponds that, was that not Maynard, Silversides maybe? Silversides? And one of the property owners took ownership of all that property in the back. You know, normally that wouldn't be advised if they could do something with the property that maybe the town wouldn't prefer, but it was wetland, so that just gave them a sense of ownership just by taking that extra acreage.
Your application says single-family and two-family homes, so what's proposed on these two?
The way I read your code is in the R15, you could do either. So what I've discussed in previous meetings with some of your officials is we're testing the market in another township to see how the market sees these two-family homes. We're talking about two-story two-family, not side-by-side attached. And we're seeing if the market wants empty nesters that have an aging parent that would be with them, or empty nesters that have an adult child perhaps for life, or young couples that the only way they can get home ownership is if they can rent out the lower section of the house to help offset that mortgage payment.
The only problem with the smaller lots is if you have two-family, and the two-family ones, where are you gonna put four cars potentially?
Understand, and again, some of those things can be addressed with deed covenants, with homeowners association covenants, just driveway shapes, agreements with the town on management. I didn't contemplate, and I'm sharing with you insight of what we're doing in the other township. We may put a covenant in there that requires that the homes be owner occupied. So you can't have renter, two cars, so the owner can have some say as far as number of cars. I'm not sure what controls you have over that now.
Because we've experienced problems around other areas of the town with too many cars and they're parked on the streets and the rear ends are hanging out the road and you can't plow right and it's just a nightmare. So,
yeah, understand.
Your proposed street that ends at Downer Street, how far is that going to be from the intersection with the light at 31 and Downer?
Haven't investigated that yet, to be honest with you. The Downer Street road cut just happens to bisect where I think the property line is. Other than that, we haven't checked site distances or things like that. I think because it's a separate tax ID number, by right, is that a state road, county road? State. I think by right, the tax ID parcel has access. Can't be denied a road cut.
I think, and I don't know this for sure, it would probably come close to lining up with Easthead Creek. Yeah, it's where you have it. I mean, might be one way or another a little bit, but probably pretty close.
So the other parcel is not as creative of a formation because the only way to get in is from one end on Downer and traverse the property west and come into Coming Road, far enough away from that intersection. But it does allow me to create rather deep lots, maybe as deep as 200 feet or so. I have a sketch. I didn't have an opportunity to get it fully drawn up. And
It looks like it's about 450 to 500 feet from.
So the depth of the lots that back up to the homes on Lanyard would be dictated by where the road cut would be on Coming Road. And I think that's showing a layout of about 27 or 28 lots, and we still have to account for stormwater management.
That's the apple orchard.
Yes.
What I call the apple orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. There's a bunch of apple trees in there. So altogether, I think we're looking at somewhere, close to 80 lots or in the 70s or something like that. Pace of consumption, depending on the economy, 6 to 15 homes a year. So we're talking about a project that's going to be a 4 to 8 year project.
So you're gonna do these in speculation, whatever the customer wants, it could be single family or two family.
It's hard to say, because what we're doing in the other towns.
Worst case scenario, they could all be two family.
Well, your town doesn't have quite the same restrictions as what I'm dealing with in the other town. In the other town, the 2 family lots are required to be bigger. So we're doing the subdivision in phases. In the first phase, there's 16 lots. 5 of the 16 will be 2 family, so 5 and 11. So that's about a 2-to-1 ratio. And we feel comfortable with that to test the market. If more are dictated, I may lose lots because I have to make the lots for the 2 family bigger, which I may not be willing to do. And I think that the 2 families will better to coexist with other single family homes instead of the entire community being 2 families. That's something that we could discuss as far as ratios or things like that. I can't say where the market's going to go. I like to think we're onto a good idea. I like to think we're onto something that consumers want, and they just haven't seen it.
In the country are doing it. So,
well, you see, I'm sure hasn't been lost on you what Manly's just did. They just passed an ordinance to allow ADUs. And this is a little bit different. This is a little bit more regulated, I suppose, because you're dealing with it before the units are constructed instead of how you're going to fit them on pre-existing home sites. So I have another layout that shows it much denser. That was just my way of just trying to figure out what max density would look like, but what I wanted to show the town is what I can do to keep the clearing down and be very respectful, because the property on the west is basically bordering a state floodway, I believe, and it just that happens that the property line is coincident with the wetland boundary.
I walked that with Jason several years ago, so I'm familiar.
A couple kind of questions before we, obviously we're going to be looking at density as we move through the process, but the pump station has adequate capacity for everything we're talking about here, right?
So if I remember correctly, the pump station was sized for more development in Buren. And in addition, some of Lysander, they have community septic systems on that side.
Right.
And they sized to take sewer from Lysander side to the pump station. So we'll have to get the capacity letter, but yes.
These 2 schemes are on 2 different parcels, or are they both?
So
This is a different parcel, yes.
So there's 3 parcels total.
This would be 2 parcels, this would be a single parcel.
Yes.
Correct. And in this scheme here, these open areas, you might have said this and I might have missed it. Are they being used for stormwater retention? Or
I believe the low point, there would be stormwater management in the southwest corner. And then I may have to revisit the road shape here. We may need some stormwater management right at the base of the, like you've seen there, exactly. So that's a level of engineering design that we haven't gotten to. Considering we just want to figure out which direction to design for.
So you got 4 lots more than that one.
I showed you the 52 because I have one that was 48, where the bump out doesn't come out as far. So I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
So this is the most dense you're looking at, this 52 then?
Yes, yes. Here's one that shows the 48, and I think with the 52, we were just able to pull the road just a little bit further west. So we sort of show a 48. We're saying if you give us a little bit more density, we can pull it even further up. And the way we accomplish that with the road radius, but also some slightly narrower lots, because the lots pinch down at the bend in the road.
Yeah, so here you're getting to an average lot size of 12.5. At least that's what you have written out there.
Yep. So again, a PUD would accommodate a variety of different lot sizes. With an R15 with the cluster, and your clustering regs allow you to compromise the lot dimensions.
So with a PUD, what do you think your minimum lot width would be you go after?
I think for practical purposes, as far as construction of homes and having some flexibility, some designs, we wouldn't want narrower than 70 feet. And that's, again, consistent with what we did in Harbor Heights, the ones on Silver Sides that backed up to the ponds. We created some narrow lots or some village lots, and they were 70 feet. I got that right.
So what do you think in size square footage of the house, these houses?
Sometimes I interject a little humor, whatever people can afford. but the reality is on the smaller lots, the market trend is people are coming down in size. So in the other community, we're between 1,400 and 1,800 square feet for the single family. The two family is 1,400 square feet up and about 700 square feet down. And the garage also down.
You don't have any elevations of those, do you?
I do have some super secret stuff that I'll be happy to tempt you with. But yeah, we're developing the elevations. In the other town, we're going to build more of the houses on speculation, and so a lot of kind of a farmhouse, modern mountain type of look thing, creative roof pitches, stuff like that. We haven't gotten to product development here. Okay.
What are the price points on those?
Same answer as before, whatever people can afford. Most new construction now starts at about $400,000. It's very hard for us to do anything below that, because you're talking about the lot price drives the price of the home. It's the single biggest impact on the job statement. And the lot price is driven by the development cost, which is driven by the length of the road I have to put in and the width of the lots. And I would estimate these lots are going to be at about $70,000 range, which would go into starting at $400,000 home.
That's for the single family.
That's for the singles, and maybe the two families just a little bit more because there's more square footage. But I can tell you that's easily double the average price point of many of the homes that were built the last time we developed Harbor Heights. So to show you where home prices went between 2006 and today. Sure. On the same size lots.
Doesn't make it affordable.
Well, that's hard to put into terms. I mean, my phone still rings. We still build houses. So
that's why he wants to do the two-family. A mechanism so they can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason we're trying to diversify product, give people options. So there's a lot of dual income out there right now. I can tell you that there's a lot of difference in the mindset of the buyers today than I dealt with 15, 20 years ago. Not a meeting went by that we didn't have a conversation about property taxes with our home buyers. It seems like the people that are well off enough to buy a new home, they don't even bring it up. And in the other community, it's going to be all electric. And you and I have deep understanding of how our furnace works. My young home buyers just look at the thermostat. And so they don't have much regard. So that's obviously a fear. Can we sell all electric homes? We're going to find out, because beginning January 1, 2026, I think we're prohibited from the gas connection, which the problem is for the developer is there's an expense to bring the gas to the community in the first place. I can't bring it in, pay National Grid these financial letters of credit, these guarantees that we're going to use it, and then not hook up the homes. So another reason why we're going to a smaller home, easier to manage the climate in the home.
So, I don't know, everybody could speak their mind on what, my preference would be something like this, with the 48 units, not having the cul-de-sac go up there. I think we all kind of hinted at it when we first saw the original one with the cul-de-sac. I mean, this would be my preferred at this point with the limited information that we have. But I don't know what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, Doug's not gonna want a cul-de-sac if he can help it.
Nah, the open space is really nice. I think that's
Pretty that buffer too.
Pretty attractive for homeowners, especially since it's backing up to their homes, so that's nice. I do like the two layouts there, the 48 or 52. The cul-de-sac is just, you know, let's turn over all the land and
you know, I don't think we were quite as creative with our layouts a few years ago. It was always kind of max density, and now we sacrifice the density for max marketability, so that the green space and stuff helps us go through the homes at better home sites at a better pace. I think a good exercise for your town and other towns is to create a little map that's color-coded on your zoning map that shows you units per acre in your residential areas. And I suspect that this is fewer units per acre than a lot of the surrounding property. When Sun Meadows was developed, when I did the last section of Harbor Heights, and when you perhaps look at the older section of Harbor Heights, I think the units per acre is very consistent. Yet the lineal feet of road to create this number of units is a benefit to your highway superintendent who's got less road to maintain.
The stormwater from what I call the apple orchard, where do you see that discharging to?
We're going to design to the lowest point and probably
will it go out through the west of Kamain?
Yes.
Toward the flow?
No, we'll keep it on site. We'll keep it on.
Well, I know that, but there still has to be a discharge point from somewhere. Because I see two people in the audience that are downhill from you, and I know that's why they're here.
So we would have to get some topographic information. We'd have to find out, our charge as the developer is we can't change the property in any way that will accelerate the runoff or increase the runoff from our property to any adjacent properties. And one step further, the water that does leave has to leave as clean as it was before we disturb the site.
the third drawing that you showed over there, which is the separate parcel, the third parcel?
Yes.
Are you looking at the same starting point for home values, 400 and up?
Oh, yeah. That's where I thought there would be perhaps more interest in the two-family because you're just backing up to a busier road. And it's a little bit more
I'm wondering
palatable.
if there's a way we can get that, is there any way you can get that cost down?
The home price cost? You know, if you can figure that out, I'll hire you.
Okay.
Come on in.
I don't build roads, I don't build infrastructure, so I don't know what
Is
the
that why
cost
you made the parcels that back up to down are larger than the parcels on the other side of the street? They're deeper. I was wondering.
The depth is important, and when I'm up against a busy road or up against the other ones, the depth is important. Theoretically, I can make them a little bit narrower and then maybe create some, maybe create some green space opportunities on one end or the other. But I still got to get a road in there, and I got to get houses on each side. What I am willing to do, by the way, on the property that backs up to Lanyard, if I got that correctly, is we can create a conservation easement. So I can direct that the back 30 feet of the property for evergreen. So you can't take the trees down. Now there's an enforcement issue. That's your town. But I could create a conservation easement. Put some type of covenant on the property, so when they get their deeds, when they get their surveys, it's right on there. So I can maintain some green space. The only caveat is I got to allow for swales, for the conveyance of stormwater and stuff. So I can pull the swales hopefully out of that easement if the design allows.
Okay. Any other questions at this point? I mean, I would assume everybody's in somewhat of agreement here of where we feel this should be going.
I am a little bit, it's been a while, I've been a little unfamiliar with your process. So I think my application materials are sufficient now, but I can get something that more closely resembles a preliminary plan.
Yes.
When I get either back before you or before the town board, and I'm not sure if what you do involves a public hearing, or you just vote either tonight or at a future meeting, but eventually I get to the town board, and I know there's a public hearing there.
That's correct.
There's no public hearing.
Not here. Right.
When you create that preliminary plan, very helpful, maybe this, all municipalities ask for this, but labeling of the frontage on the road as far as width and then total lot area for each lot.
Road frontage, total lot size,
And lot
lot
size.
size, okay, by square footage.
Correct.
Yeah, then, so everything, as of right now, everything goes in front of us. So the town board's kind of out of it now until we have a referral back to them, which would then include, your traffic, your drainage, all the above. That would be reviewed by this board with Jason and others.
So I guess my question is, when would you open seeker and tell me what impacts you think I need to account for?
This board won't do seeker.
Okay.
So a lot of, the town board will do seeker. However, if you look through, depending upon whether it's rezoned and it's a PUD, there's in our zoning code, it outlines everything this board needs to look at for their referral for a PUD or whatever that plan district.
I mean, do I presume that they have to look at all those things, or are they going to tell me they want to look at all those things? Because traffic, for instance,
It's in there.
because some of the parcels are entitled to road cuts by right, and so.
So I would suggest, I'm not taking code book again.
And again, I'm jumping between the zone change process and the subdivision process.
But they're intertwined, right? Because if you do a PUD, then it's establishing all of your, setbacks are unique, lot sizes are unique, uses are unique. But when you look at, sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah.
No, it just seems very, I guess that's what the market is going to now. It is? Where?
I don't want to speak for the whole board, but I would think we would probably say a certain percentage of lots have to be single family and a certain percentage have to be two family or.
Yeah,
or
no, I
can
mean, we'll vet
be.
that through as part of.
Yeah, that'll be part of it.
review. Yeah.
I don't want to see everything two family, obviously.
I think you have some, I'm just reciting what I know of your code, and a few occasions I've stuck my nose into it. You could probably direct that with a PUD. With an R15, you can't, because it's right in your code, and R15 allows two family.
Yeah, the PUD would give us that leeway.
So, Dan, if you were to pursue the PUD, right, because obviously, as you just pointed out, totally different if you're going for a straight R40 or whatever, I would suggest you look at 200-33. That talks about PUD district. After going through the objectives, there are certain requirements. It talks about the application and procedure, approval procedure, excuse me. But then you get down to what the concept plan has to consist of, and then additional documentation. For example, the following documentation shall accompany the concept plan. And then for A, full EAF. B, evidence of existing and future community demand for proposed uses. C, evidence that the proposal is compatible with the town's comprehensive plan. Statements on open space, whether the development's to be phased or sectioned, a statement regarding the availability of water supply and sewage disposal, general description of the public safety services that will be required, evidence demonstrating your ability to carry out that plan. So those are some things, and there's more here, but that gives you an idea of documentation that they require to be able to review and give their referral back. So certain things in that will be explored. So I take a look at that section.
I think where it leaves off is it doesn't really tell you who's qualified to offer those opinions.
True, but they'll tell you if they're not happy. Kind of like you won't commit to a market value, it's whatever the market will hold. It's or like the Supreme Court judge, they know it when they see it.
I mean, my engineer is qualified to give me some of that information, and I think there's some people that are technically oriented here on the board, and I have my own opinions based on my 25 years of experience of doing it, but we all have what we previously did at Harbor Heights, and that's a pretty good template of what we're trying to do again.
But remember, this is, when you rezone, that's legislative.
I understand.
So your standards are the legislative standards, not your typical, you know, do I have subdivision? Subdivision requires X, Y, Z. Do I have them check, check, check? Yes, give me subdivision, right? So when you're looking at rezoning, it puts it into a different realm. So it is whether or not you've satisfied the concerns of this board, and they're authorized to ask for additional information. So to the extent seekers a concern, the full EAF is required, so there should be some that they need to be able to review before it goes back for referral. So it should be fleshed out. I would say ideally, what the town board wants is a referral back that the town planning board has received, vetted, the public has been able to review, they're comfortable with. And in my experience, if the planning board comes back and says, this has our stamp of approval, or we reviewed this and these are the concerns you need to look at, the town board takes that into consideration and looks at it very heavily. They don't typically just disregard what the planning board has said, so.
So the town board gives the planning board a lot of weight.
Absolutely, they're the planning.
That's good to know.
Yes.
In addition to the public hearing as well. That will have probably more weight than the planning board. We have to listen to our residents.
The ones that show up.
Sure.
Well, obviously.
Just
Those
saying.
public hearings?
I'm just saying this, it's not just positive.
Well, that's the beauty of legislating.
Sometimes you just have to make unpopular decisions.
Well,
That's all I have.
we hope that what you propose is,
What's that?
we hope what you propose is well liked by existing residents in the market.
My experience is you can't do this. If you try, you're gonna go crazy. And I'm not trying to sell houses to everybody, just about 80 people.
All right, I think we're good. I think you got an idea of what we're looking, what our layout will be looking at.
I can leave, other than that one, sketch, I can leave this stuff behind you.
No, I'll take it. I'll actually take it if you don't mind leaving.
Let me see what else I got that I can leave you.
All right, Chair entertains a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Public hearing.
I'm reading public hearing all over the place.
Did you want to discuss the last?
Can I do it after closed meeting, or should I do it as part of the open meeting? Thank you. All right, so one last item, quickly, it's not part of the agenda, but it's something that came to our attention, and we met this morning with the Dorigos. I'm gonna give you all copies, and make copies.
This is the townhomes he wants to put in? This is the townhomes he wants to put in?
No, completely separate.
Oh, this is separate. It's like something else brewing, huh?
No, that's pretty much kibosh. So what we're looking at here, thank you, Dan. So as everyone knows, this Marion Gardens was planned to be built into three phases. 1 and 2 is complete. So the outline that you see there in blue is phases 1 and 2, already complete. The red that is circled there is phase 3. Obviously, the road is complete to access 1 and 2. So what they are looking to do is they want to refinance phase 1 and 2 and then start the construction of phase 3 in early next year. So in order for them to refinance phases 1 and 2, they have to have a subdivision. So they're going to subdivide the property into what you see there is outlined in red and blue. So they came to us, Nadine, Jason, and I met with them early this morning, and
Real early.
real early, so this has been a long day. 8:30. So we told them that you can't subdivide it the way you have it shown right here. We asked them, Tim, did they come talk to you at all?
They got no road.
No, sir, I have a meeting Friday morning at 9:30.
They got no road.
Well, that's where the thing is, so access off of phase 1 and 2 cannot, it has to have frontage, so they wanted to have a, access easement which would allow access to phases 1 and 2. We said, that's probably with discussions with the, town codes officer, that if he was good with that, it all the conversations become with building permits and what's allowed to do that. So we actually suggested that maybe you could make a like a 30-foot minimum connection just north of that road, which wouldn't have a road built on it because they would still go after a access easement to maintain the same road, but include a 30-foot swath basically on the in between the road and the upper red limit, and include that into the phase 1 and 2 subdivision. So I guess.
So can I add a couple things to that?
Go ahead.
So because this is PUD, you have some flexibility there so that you can make that a little sliver versus a normal lot. The other thing, and forgive me, Mark, but to quote you, I was only half listening. Just kidding. The property is not going to stay separated.
That's right, they're gonna recombine
They want
it
it, this is
after-
simply while they are building out the phase 3. So it's build phase 3, they're looking at, what they say, a year? 20, they'd start March
14 months.
25, and they would expect to be done in 26, and then their intentions to put the properties back together.
Correct. So this is just.
Obviously, that may not happen, but that is what their plan is.
My brain made it to the end of the agenda. I had caught nothing of this, so get on the agenda for next meeting and we'll go over it then.
No, this was simply, they came in and
They just
were-
asked our opinion
Yeah.
of what the board would allow. Tim's got a meeting with them on Friday to discuss the intricacies of all this, so once we get through that meeting, we'll make a determination of whether or not this board would probably even go for this, and then it will get put on the agenda. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware. I told them I would do it.
I don't understand what you were trying to say,
I don't either.
show me.
Why don't they just draw a line south from the star and include the road?
Because then you'd have no access to phase 3. Both sites have to have access.
Do an easement then.
Well, that's what.
Across that.
That's what the question is.
That's what the question
Well,
is.
the easements, so what we took a look at was the definition of lot in our zoning code. And our definition of lot requires street frontage, but it says that if it's not sufficient, it has to satisfy for building permit purposes. So the question becomes, what does the building permit require? Does that require 30 feet for emergency services? Does that require more? Does that require, I don't know, this is for the code officer to talk, to think.
Just to explain
And
the
so-
impact.
Yes, correct.
There's some, if he feels that it's not, that it can be satisfied by an easement, then they don't need to go, they don't need to worry about
That's correct.
the lot as proposed. If he feels like, no, you need to make sure that you at least have 20 feet, then they need, or whatever the amount may be, then they would need to make that little sliver along the boundary to get, to technically satisfy the definition of a lot, to be able to subdivide it into 2.
Okay, that's all I wanted to run by. You guys take these, I appreciate the time. Chair entertain a motion to close the zoning and planning board meeting for the town of Van Buren, September 10th, 2024.
Move.
Second.
First and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, everyone.